Sons and daughters of God, we are the remnant, sharing God's DNA. And talk a little bit about the economic collapse that's coming. The next one is supposed to be a really big one. We just had one. There's going to be a really big one coming. I'm not sure if it's the next one, but the economy's been collapsing a lot, especially in the United States and in other countries also too. It's probably collapsed in the last 100 years about 20 times, 20 sometimes. If you look back in your history, you can find it on the internet. There's everyone familiar with the Great Depression in 1919 or 1920 when the economy collapsed back then, but there's been others since then. And if you're familiar with the Great Depression, the videos, the movies, the documentaries, people hungry, people had jobs one day, didn't have any next day, no food, men in business suits one day, the next day they're wearing rags and going shoeless, soup lines, but that is the world's economy. That's how the world, when you're in the world and a part of the world, you do everything that the world does. You see, but God's economy is different. So we're talking about the economic collapse. We had one, I think it was 2008, when there was a certain president running the country for 2 terms. And we all know who he is. I just don't want to mention his name. And, during his 2 terms, he had set up a lot of things. He had set up the New World Order for the United States to join. He was getting ready to hand it over to the lady that was running for president, but she didn't win. She would have finished it off. We would be a part of the New World Order. The economic collapse would have happened by now. I'm trying to stay on topic with this economic collapse, but it's joined with the mark of the beast. Don't get the mark of the beast. If you do that, you're going to be in big trouble for all eternity. There's no way out of it once you get the mark in your forehead, get it in your hand, a tattoo, anything. Because that means you don't trust God. That means you don't have faith in God. And the thing is that we have to get to the point. It is a must for us to get to the point where anything can happen in your life, and you trust God anyway. Now, how do you do that? You simply talk to God. You have to go to Him. If you can't hear the voice of God, if He's not speaking to you some way, I'm not talking about an audible voice saying, do this, do that, turn right, turn left, go up, go down, do this. I'm not talking about that. God speaks to us in multitudes of different ways. He can speak to you through feeling. He can speak to you through the Word of God. He can speak to you through worship. Figure it out how you're going to be able to talk to God. He could speak to you through speaking in tongues. He can when you speak in tongues, if you have that gift, He can speak to you. Now, but we have to get to that point. Otherwise, when the economic collapse happens, you're not going to trust God. You're going to be just like everybody else is. You see, the thing about an economy collapse, it's going to be a worldwide collapse. And once one economy collapses, it could be Japan, it could be China, it could be the UK, Australia, any major country. They start to collapse like dominoes. And then all of a sudden the money has no value, and we're starting all over. And that's the perfect scenario for the Antichrist to step in and say, hey, I can fix this. I got the plan all written out. You see. But we don't want to go that way. We refuse to be a part of that, you see. And when you can't buy and you can't sell, you have to be a part of God's economy. God's economy will never collapse. It's already set up. Join God's economy by paying your tithes. Then you'll be in God's economy, giving an offering. First of all, paying your tithes. And the offering is second, even if it's just $1. But give your 10%. It's not your money anyway. It's a trust factor when it comes to God. It's not that he needs the money, because he owns everything. He just wants to see if you're going to be obedient. Even if you're struggling now, you can step into God's economy and he could turn all that around for you, you see. But there will be a worldwide economic collapse. Check the Rockefeller papers on the World Wide Web. There's documents. You might be able to find them on the World Wide Web if you search hard enough. And there's they've got it all written out. You know, it should have already happened, but God stepped in and put a president in the United States of America that actually cares for the country. So, and I'm not a politician, and I'm not trying to lose subscribers by talking about him or anything like that, but that's what he did. Otherwise, we would be all subject to the Antichrist right about now, or very soon. He probably would have been in power by now. It's been 4 years. And the New World Order is already established. It would have been implemented in the United States by now. The world religion it's coming. It's signed. September 2020. It's in effect. You might not have heard about it yet, but it's this month. It's going to happen at the Vatican. The Pope is in charge of that. He set it up. Thousands of different religions, thousands of different ministers from all these religions, probably hundreds of thousands. And they've all signed up. Maybe even your church has signed up. Who knows? All the big ones, that's for sure. And these big churches aren't going to tell you about it. So, and even the smaller churches won't even tell you about it. Mark of the Beast is ready. They've already been experimenting with it. World War III. They've got that planned out. Okay, they've got everybody thinking that there's going to be a rapture before all this stuff happens. That was a plant, pretty good plan actually. It'd be great if it happens, but what if it doesn't happen before all this happens? What if it doesn't happen in the middle? You know, what if it happens at the very end? You know, 2 witnesses are coming. That's good. That'll be for 3.5 years. We'll talk about them in a minute. But we're talking about being prepared for the economic collapse. When it happens, I don't know what's going to happen when that happens. I know that one thing, I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to be stressed out. I'm preparing myself mentally now, and I'm talking to God about it with him now. You know, because I want to be led by him. I want to be guided by him. I want him to mold me and shape my mind, you know, now. Prepare me now for that when it happens. It's going to happen. And it's going to happen in my lifetime. And it